All right, this is the latter half of the 5-5 lesson. Again, I want to try my best to do this remotely. Also, for the homework tonight and from the homework from yesterday, I will try to put an answer key on annotate for you tomorrow. All right, so this goes right with what we were talking about as far as reviewing that the roots are the places where it crosses the x-axis. So you know the answers here are going to be -3 and +2. All right, and so those are the solutions, the zeros, or the roots. And when you plug those back in, because remember, when you're solving it, you want it to be equal to 0. So x plus 3 equals 0. All right, you would minus 3 from both sides, and you would get x equals -3. So when you plug it back in here, it kind of becomes the opposite. Well, it does become the opposite. So it's +2 is the answer, so it goes x minus 2 inside of the parentheses. And -3 is the answer, so it's x plus 3 in parentheses. And then once you have all of those, you can take them and multiply. And so we're going to do distributive property twice, otherwise known as FOIL. Here we're going to do x times x is x squared, and x times 3 is 3x, and -2 times x is -2x, and -2 times 3 is -6. Right? And then obviously x squared just stays x squared. These two terms here, positive 3x and -2x, or 3 minus 2, just becomes 1x. And then -6 stays -6. And so this is our f of x equals, all right, it is a possible function for those roots, right? Remember, those roots could exist in other functions as well, because we could have additional imaginary answers that we're unaware of. But it is the possible function of those roots. And so when I look at this graph, I also note here I have 1, 2, 3 places I know there's an answer. So I know x equals -4. I know x equals -2. And I know x equals 1. Right? And so I know I'm dealing with x plus 4, x plus 2, and x minus 1. Right? And I need to multiply these. And remember, when you go to multiply, order doesn't matter. So you just need to multiply 2 of them at a time. So it doesn't matter whether you do these two. I don't know why you would do those two if you wrote it this way, but whatever. I want to do these two here on the right side just because that's how I prefer to do it. But order doesn't matter. You'll get the same answer either way. And so I'm going to do x times x here is x squared. X times -1, -1x. 2 times x is 2x. And 2 times -1 is -2. All right, that simplifies down to x squared plus x minus 2. And I can't forget that I still have this x plus 4. And now let me see if I can't slide this up a little bit. All right, and now I'm just doing distributive property twice. This is why I don't like FOIL, because now we're not foiling. It's just distributive property twice. And so I'm going to do x times all of these things. Right? And so x times x squared is x to the third. X times x is x squared. X times -2 is -2x. And then I'm going to do 4 times all of these things. And so I get plus 4x squared plus 4x minus 8. And so f of x equals x to the third. It's the only x to the third. I have an x squared here and an x squared here, so I'm going to get plus 5x squared. I have -2x and positive 4x, so I get plus 2x minus 8. And so that is a possible polynomial function that can be represented by the graph, represented by those 3 roots. And so I'm going to leave that there. Again, today's was a little bit easier. I expect you might need more time on yesterday's, and I'll work on putting an answer key on annotate as well. So if you kept up track yesterday, you had the first half of this done. This is the second half of the assignment. Just a few problems there to practice that skill. All right, guys. Good luck.